Okay, Zach, so this is the first video I'm going to put together here for you, and this is your final throw of the session that we ended on. And in this video, the first thing we're going to take a look at here is just your base. So just basically from the waist down, and then I'll comment on other videos as we move on through it. But basically, the first thing we want to look at here is your pre-pass stance and posture. Right now you're in a pretty good position. I really like the width that you have here with your feet. What I like to say is that we want to be shoulder width and then a little bit wider. So you're kind of falling right in that range there. Okay, shoulder width and a little bit wider. That's pretty good stuff there. Also, you have some slight bend in the knees, which is good, and you have some slight flexion in the hips, which is good. Okay, we could probably afford to be a little bit more on the balls of your feet here. You can see you're probably a little more flat-footed than we would like, but that's okay. Moving upward from there, good bend in the knees, good flexion in the hips. Also, upper body wise, just in terms of your pre-pass, you're in pretty good position here. I like the way the ball is, the wrist is cocked at the 45-degree angle. The wrist is loaded. You can tell by the way you're standing there with the on the shelf. So that's definitely good stuff, and the arms are in pretty good position as well. So the first part of your throw here would be the really highlighting the drive and then the stride. Okay, so we want to think of the drive, which would be your back leg. Okay, so this is all going to be the drive leg here and the drive foot. So when we refer to the drive, that's all coming from the back end there. Okay, front side, we've got the front side is kind of twofold. You have your stride foot, but then if we looked at the entire leg, we're going to refer to this as our brake, our front brake as well, which we did reference a little bit. Okay, but right off the bat, we want to think about the drive causing the stride. So we want to sink a little bit more and really work to kind of drive that foot into the turf and really push off to cause your stride. Okay, so let me just play the video for you full speed for a second here. Okay, so what we're going to look at here is the idea of that drive. Really, that's going to cause your stride as you push off. Okay, and right now what we're seeing from your drive is it's more of a sort of, we're just kind of taking our front foot and we're sort of picking it up and putting it back down. And we want to really try to, we don't need to travel much. You don't need to really stretch that front foot out. But we do want that move to be a rather explosive move. And you also, instead of just sort of picking it up and putting it down, you're really kind of cutting yourself off a little bit, and I'll show you a view from the front what this does. But ideally we want to step a little bit left of your target here, and we can tell that really your stride foot is essentially just turning, pivoting, and landing back in front of you. Okay, so we can get you a little bit wider either with your base, or we keep our base there and we can stride with that foot a little bit longer away from the body. Now with that in mind, the stride foot is the only thing that's going to travel. We really want to almost block your hips off. Sorry, let me redraw that. Take your hips, block them off right there, and let the foot, as I refer to it, just sort of skate. So let the foot get out to about this spot here without the hips traveling with it. So you're like you're on ice skates. Let that front foot skate away from you, and then as it lands, it will immediately turn into your brakes. Okay? So what you see here is kind of picking up and putting down, and then essentially we're putting all of our weight, we're sort of standing up onto that front leg. So now you are very much on top of your front foot here. Okay, we would like to see you be more behind that front foot, something more with your whole body being back behind that green line. I know that seems pretty dramatic. But when you understand and start to realize the drive and stride and brake part of the throw, you will have a much better opportunity to stay back in it. So the other thing when we really want to think about our drive being really drive that knee, and I think we talked about it like a hitter in baseball, drive that knee and at the same time extend your brakes on the front side. Okay, so you can see what happens here is you are kind of just pushing, you're turning, and then you're pushing your weight more in this direction, and you're essentially just putting yourself up on top of that foot. Okay, we want the throw to be an explosive movement, and in order for that to happen, we have to keep the hips back, skate that foot, hips back, and now it becomes drive, brakes. And once you then combine that power with the rev, race, squeeze, essentially your power would start from your back foot, and then it looks to kind of drive forward. When you hit the brakes, it races upward and then eventually out the arm. Okay, that's kind of how the whole thing works. So we could afford to really get more of an explosion on our drive, more definitive brake, and that will really help you. So again, kind of taking a look at it, we're really just kind of turning the foot and kind of rolling on top of the foot there with very little explosion off the back foot. You can see even when you finish, the foot's almost just hanging back there, and you're kind of bringing it through on purpose instead of it really driving forward and then kind of floating through as a result of that. Alright, so that's your lower half, and I'll come back with another one, upper body.